side note before we start anything, this is Cool Sean, Puerto Rican Sean, Jew Sean, Bearded Sean, Brown Sean, the best Sean, the original Sean, OG Sean, the oldest Sean.
AKA.
Yeah, aka all of those things. I wanted to preface that by saying that Ginger Sean isn't here because
He's
he's
a piece of shit.
giant bitch. Exactly, correct, thank you.
His
He
AIDS is flaring up again, I think.
did nothing last week, didn't even bother showing up this week. I'm assuming next week he'll be dead
That's a possibility.
just to live up to all of our expectations of him. Let's set the bar at that level right there for him. And we've got Julian over here working the soundboard and everything for us.
It's gonna sound a lot better now because Sean's not doing it.
Someone's doing it. Someone's operating it.
Correct. Instead of googling very explicit,
Just gay
questionable images, yeah.
Just gay porn. I love when you did that and my girlfriend's sitting over
I
here.
know, like, dude,
Like,
what the fuck? You can't just do this.
Under-
He just did it.
we just set up the monitor and everything so we could see stuff, and as soon as he gets the power to do it,
Yeah,
that's immediately.
That was our
We should have seen that coming. The first thing.
You
'Cause
can't give him that much power.
you gotta take a look at this kid's internet search history.
I
of
don't
course.
want to.
Yeah, exactly.
I might get the FBI might be calling.
Okay, this is a serious episode, like without question. Although we're being a little cheeky here, it is a serious episode. This gets into serious subject matter, and it is gonna touch on a lot of what would you say, like current situations currently going on that pertain.
Yeah.
We're gonna touch on a couple of different things that are a little older and sort of relate them all together, and it's gonna be it'll definitely have a serious note with our opinions here and there. But we are going to be stating the facts of these situations. But before we get into that, I want to talk about my fucking ride over here, okay?
Let's hear it.
Because I'm pissed. I'm so mad. And this is my issue, and this is the issue I've had for years. I fucking cannot stand bike riders on the road.
Oh my god.
These fucking people need to get hit by cars.
Yes, please.
If you are one of these fucking self-absorbed sons of bitches that needs to profess to the universe and all the other people on the road how goddamn important your life is because you want to bicycle everywhere, like, fuck you. Get on the side. It's annoying enough because, for one thing, we live in Florida, a state where everyone drives a fucking car.
Right.
Like,
Except for
especially the part of Florida we live in. It's not like we live in Miami where you can walk places.
Yeah. No, you definitely got to drive.
This is Central Florida. Like, you need a fucking car just to go to, like, a corner store because more than likely you live... If you tried to walk, it would take you an hour and a half to get to a corner store, probably.
And then an hour and a half back.
Yeah. So it's fucking ridiculous. This guy... On my way over here, there's a specific road that I had to take to get over here.
Right.
And it's very fucking tight because there's construction on both sides of it. Because they're building like a fucking hotel job center thing. And then they're expanding the road on the other side of it. So this fucking asshole, it's the middle of the night. He's got like a blinker on the back of his bike. You can barely see it. And he's
at that
like
point, you just fucking hit him.
And he's one of those Lance Armstrong motherfuckers where he's got the full gear on.
Oh, the fucking
like
wetsuit.
The helmet. Yeah. He looks like Aquaman. Like he's on his way to his dick appointment to suck someone off. Like a fucking asshole. And the car in front of me can't get by because it's so fucking tight.
Dude, I would be honking my goddamn horn.
That's what I start doing. I'm like, dur, 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 dur. I can't stand these fucking guys. And rarely do I ever go off on them though. Right. I go off on drivers all the time. But I'm just like, fuck them. Like, I just want to get past them. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give drivers my fucking mind, and I'll get into a fight with a driver. But like, I rarely ever do anything when it comes to. But I do get mad about them all the time. But as soon as I pull up next to him, right when the road starts to widen and we can finally get by, I pull up next to him, I honk loud as shit, and I scare the fuck out of him. And he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he like turns over. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, please fucking fall, you asshole." He turns, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "Get the fuck off the road, you piece of shit. Do you not see all the cars lined up?" Because it wasn't just me and this guy.
Right,
he was holding up traffic.
No, that's ridiculous.
When there's a sidewalk 3 feet from him, if he went into the grass, if he got off his bike, pulled it into the grass, and got on a sidewalk, and it's a big sidewalk too. The neighborhood's nice, so they built a big-ass sidewalk there, and it pissed me off because it's completely open, there's lights on it, but he has to go on the road that has no lights, with his little blinker on just to be a cocksucker. And I fucking go off on him. And he's like, I have every right. I have every right. And
to
I'm
get
like,
fucking hit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like...
I think we need to start a petition to get fucking bicyclists off the goddamn road. They are a hazard.
Oh, I fucking... No, for safety reasons, I totally... Like, they are. They fucking are. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like... The bike lane is one thing, but do you know how often I see these guys like just driving in the road like it's a motorcycle?
Oh yeah, when they do that shit, it pisses me off. When I'm like doing a fucking at a stoplight, and I gotta turn, and there's a bicyclist in front of me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, get the fuck out of here! You're not in a fucking automobile.
Fucking time.
Oh, now I'm just getting all fucking.
And they're just like, and then they'll give you this. They'll gesture. They're like, go around.
And it's like, get the fuck out.
Get off the fucking road, you stupid ass. What are you doing, dude?
Oh my god.
Like it's old. God, it's so fucking ridiculous. These assholes, they need to get hit. And I tell Benexi, I'm like, hit them. Just somebody fuck. I want there to be a mass extinction of bicycle riders, like the fucking dinosaurs. I want to wipe these assholes out. I want there to be a decline in like the bikes getting bought.
So for every
2020,
every time you knock a bicyclist off their bike, you get 5 points. If you fuck their bike up, that's another 5. If they get seriously injured, that's a total of 10. And then what I'm going to start doing is just riding around, open the fucking passenger door, jump, jacking them.
Tally. Yep. You're like, by the way, this episode is sponsored by Razor. Sponsored by Razor and Mongoose.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're going to get emails like, yeah, don't you ever fucking say our names.
My aunt died driving in the blah 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 marathon or some bullshit like that. Yeah, well, she deserved it.
It happens.
She had it coming. No, seriously, like they kind of deserve it. I think if you have the level of self-importance where you're just like, I have to be in the... It's one thing when it's like, oh, it's a crowded sidewalk. I can get that because that lane is built specifically for it, even though it's still more dangerous for everybody else because if you fall or something, the cars have to swerve. They have no choice. Yeah.
What they need to do, if they are gonna do a bike lane, they need to make the fucking they need to account for wider fucking roads 100%. And give them like 3 times the space that they actually have.
Yeah, for sure.
That way they stay over there and they're not interfering with us.
But then we have the problem of living here in Central Florida.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna happen.
The thing with like the roads and the sidewalks is they were built like decades ago, like off of where there were dirt roads.
Yeah.
And now some sidewalks just end like randomly in the middle, like you could be in the middle of nowhere and you're just like where the fuck am I supposed to go now? You have to walk like 4 miles on grass right next to the fucking road. Dude, the infrastructure here in Florida is retarded as hell.
It is R-worded. Well, that kind of brings it into what we're going to talk about today.
Things that piss us off.
So yeah, this definitely is... It grinds my gears.
Do you want to get started talking about it? Do you want to come in on it, or do you want me to go in on it?
You can go and start it, yeah.
Okay, so as I'm sure most people have heard, the situation with Johnny Depp and his ex-wife. I think
their ex-wife,
ex-wife at this point, AMBER HeArD situation.
Have you heard about HeArD?
Have you heard? That's probably what she said when she slapped the shit out of him or something. When she just started, and I know we're laughing about this, but we do take this seriously. But I'm still gonna laugh about it though.
Of course.
She was like, "Have you heard?"
What are the 5 fingers?
She's like auditioning to be a wrestler or some shit.
This bitch coming out hard. But no, seriously.
So back in 2016, they had separated, and Amber had made the claims that Johnny had been physical with her more than once during this, and she had even called the police on him. And so with the initial police report, she had alleged that he had gotten physical with her. There had been glass, like bottles or cups or whatever, had been thrown and smashed around the apartment. And apparently the police had like checked the apartment. There was no glass. There was no bruising, any physical things that they could see on her. Obviously, they can't see every part of her body unless she like opts to show them that. But from what they looked at, there was nothing wrong. There were no bruises, no hits, no bleeding or anything like that. But then in the court proceedings, she had then brought pictures of glass that was shattered around the house, glass that was never found by the police that showed up there, pictures of her bruises on her face and her body, her arms, hands, that wasn't there when the police went and questioned her about it. And so now it has now come out years later. It's now 2020 after Johnny Depp has basically lost all his, I don't know, Hollywood status where he once stood. I mean, he's nowhere near as big as he was like
definitely
15, 20 years ago. No. But
I mean, you could kind of blame it on him getting older and stuff like that, but still, there's a lot of...
I mean, it's the same thing with everybody like that. Will Smith isn't...
Yeah, but he's still very relevant. Like, in this sense, though,
he has a fan base. He has a loyal fan base that, like, he can still, you know, if he's in a movie, he's one of those guys where, like, you put his name on a movie because you want it to have a big, you know, box office.
Yeah, for sure.
But
it has gone down.
I mean, can you think of what was the last movie like that you saw Johnny Depp in? I don't fucking remember anything.
To be
Transcendence, that really terrible fucking like movie.
I didn't even watch it, to be honest.
It was bad, but I mean, at least he had like deals going on. He hasn't had anything. His whole fucking career dried up because of this. All these accusations. Hollywood has basically abandoned him. Everyone heard these the little girl crying domestic violence. And they came running, and that isn't me like calling aMbEr Heard a little girl to be demeaning. I'm making a play obviously off of the little boy who cried wolf, but I just think it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of funny. It's ridiculous, really. It's comical because of how ridiculous it is that like someone makes this kind of accusation without any proof, without any reasoning, without any actual evidence of anything really happening, and everyone just turns against this person. And it's fucking sad. It's upsetting. It's really fucking aggravating because that's the world we live in.
No, it is. It's kind of like, it's very similar to the way that shit's happening, especially like on social media, where people just basically cancel people now. And they don't necessarily even get the facts of what all is going on. They just hear a little fucking, you know, soundbite or a little fucking misquoted thing. Yeah,
for sure. That's the biggest
thing.
And
then now they're like, you know, being blacklisted and canceled basically off of this one little thing. And it's like, that's not even the whole, like, you need to see the whole situation before you just jump to conclusions and are out here fucking just destroying people's livelihood, because that's like essentially what is happening to him. I mean, I'm sure he's got plenty of fucking money, but still, the fact that...
Well, actually, he's terrible
with his money. He is terrible with his money. He's always, like, spent, like, $10,000 a month on wine.
He's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot. I mean, he got famous super young.
Yeah.
And, like...
21 Jump Street.
You know, I always say this about whenever I hear about, like, lottery winners. I think it should be legally, like, required that you have to get, like, a financial advisor if you win the lottery. Honestly, just because... You know, within a couple of... I think... Isn't there a statistic that within 10 years most of them are, like, dead or something like that?
Dead or broke.
Because people, like, come after... Like, their friends and family are always after them. People are trying to steal their money.
They have all this money now. They can spend it on whatever, and there's no limit.
And, you know, I think we all know the kinds of fucking people... You know, I worked in a fucking gas station as my first job. I remember the kinds of people that come in all the time buying lottery tickets.
Right.
Half of them are fucking crackheads. Like, seriously. What do you think a crackhead's gonna do when they win the fucking lottery?
Buy a lot of crack.
Dude, gonna buy the most fucking crack they can find, dude.
Oh my god, Crack Island.
Dude, so
that's how the Titanic actually sunk.
It's crack. They just hit a giant crack rock. You think there's a crackhead who was driving it? The captain was like,
"Oh, we hit it hard enough, it'll dust it." We just fucking line that shit.
He just held his hand out and was scraping against it. He had that crackhead strength.
Oh my god.
No, but so it's now come to light. Oh my god. It's now come to light that aMbEr was lying. Completely lying. Everything was a lie. It was all falsehoods. Nothing was true that she said. In fact, it was the opposite. She was actually the one abusing Johnny.
Pretty seriously.
And what's really upsetting is the media crucified Johnny Depp. Everyone went after him. All of these media outlets were reporting on it and were saying really horrible things about him. Just terrible things. When they weren't reporting any facts, but they were reporting, you know, what she was saying as facts, which is a completely different thing than reporting facts. Reporting what people say and reporting the facts are two different things.
As a journalist or any type of person that's putting out media like that, you need to have shit that backs up what you're saying instead of just saying shit because that's what the fucking issue is.
Well, I saw this thing today. It was something about something completely different, but it had to do with journalism. It was about games journalism, but the difference, but still being that the whole point is to fact check. But the idea of like fact checking like 50, 60, 70 years ago was that you had about a week to work on a story. So you had time to check your facts. Now you look towards today and it's so instantaneous that like you have to, you don't, nobody bothers to fact check.
Well, that's
they
why
all just
look
throw
at
their shit
TMZ. They get so many
TMZ's the
terrible fucking like they have these stories that are just terrible. And then
I just watched a thing about TMZ. They're still trying to say that Johnny Depp might have still been hitting her. There's one of their people on there is still saying he's still going, I don't know, this still kind of seems a little, when it's literally come out that she's abusing him, and this asshole is literally like, I don't know.
Jack Sparrow kind of looks like a dick.
Yeah, like have you seen how many bracelets he wears? A guy that wears that many bracelets definitely beats women.
Every time he smacks her, he puts a new one on, so you just keep it count. Throughout the years, it just gets more and more.
He's just got an fucking armband. He's building armor. That's what he's doing. He's trying to defend himself against her.
Oh my god, that's right. And he just does it one at a time, once a month, so it doesn't look too obvious. And then eventually he just has a full arm. And she's like, wait, did you get another bracelet? He's like, no, darling, just my shit.
I love your Johnny Depp impression. I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to be.
I don't know.
It was like kind of British. The best part is it's kind of accurate because if you heard him talk, he like almost does a British accent when he speaks.
Right, that's like I'm trying to do.
And he's so full of shit because he's American.
But he's that rich.
Yeah, he's that rich he gets away with it. Yeah, because I've seen him on like British talk shows and nobody calls him on it. Right. They're just like, oh, this guy he talks really good for an American. Like,
right, and very, very proper.
Yeah, it's so full of shit. But no, I mean, it's really fucking disgusting. The media is like fucking, and now that it's come to light that she lied about everything,
right?
The media is like afraid to even touch the story. Nobody's putting up retractions. I mean, hardly anything. I don't know. I can't really think of any of the
I haven't seen anything.
The outlets that were coming after him, that were demanding his cancellation, that were demanding. Well, the thing is,
even if they do retractions or any of that doesn't.
The retraction never gets as much publicity as.
Well, not even that.
Story.
It's already been 4+ years since the incident. The damage is already done.
Oh yeah.
What's a retraction going to do? But everyone's like, oh, okay, now it's good. Those 4 years, he's already lost.
I'd sue her for a bunch of stuff.
Exactly, I was about to
say
not just
assault and everything, but slander and everything like that.
And all that money that he possibly could have made. All that fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah,
they can literally figure out how much he would have made from all of these opportunities that he lost.
She's in those Aquaman shit, so she'd be probably getting paid.
She needs to lose everything. I mean, that's
all of her money should go to Johnny Depp.
And that won't even and if she does, that still wouldn't even make it fair.
No,
like even if she just lost stuff and had no jail time, that still wouldn't make it fucking fair. Like,
no, definitely not. It'd be a
she needs to see some fucking jail time. This is ridiculous. I don't even care if she just goes to jail for like a month or something like that. Just fucking like simple bullshit, like where they put all the fucking like money launderers and stuff like that, all the pussy prisoners, like all that dumb bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, I don't feel like anything like as far as like the judging and all that shit, the judicial system is really even fair when it comes to male and female.
Yeah, there's a bias.
There really is, in my opinion. I mean, I give you an example.
Well, no, I mean like factually. Yeah, there's a bias. Like women receive like the lesser sentencing for the same crime. Like statistically, like it just.
Oh yeah, like for like Casey Anthony bitch. Yeah. If that was a guy, like just a regular dude put in that same situation and it played out exactly like that, it wouldn't play out like that because he would have been guilty right off the bat, no questions asked. But because she was a, good-looking girl, she was a woman, young, blah blah blah, this and that, it got to what it was, and she got away with fucking murder.
No, I mean when I first found out about this story, I was actually working at a children's hospital. And my coworker, who actually at the time was like a really, really close friend of mine, like we were very, really close. The only time we disagreed was that she was like a very hardcore feminist, and I had just come like off of being a feminist. I stopped considering myself a feminist.
Right.
So obviously, I still consider men and women to be on equal standing, and I you know, I don't think any less of women. I just think the phrase feminist and a lot of the agenda of modern feminism is kind of negative. And
it doesn't fit what you're going for.
It doesn't positively affect the outcome of like bringing equality to both genders. You know what I mean? So I now consider myself an egalitarian. Same basic bullshit. It's just like, I just think everyone's equal. That's just the definition of it. Everyone's equal no matter what.
Except for gingers.
Yeah, exactly. Except for those fucking white gingers from Jersey. Irish pieces of trash.
Sean.
But she was the one who mentioned the story to me. I hadn't even heard about it.
Right.
And
I really,
it was
to be
like
honest
right
with
when
you, I hadn't
it was
either.
right when it happened. I didn't know about it. And she goes, "Oh, Johnny Depp. You know that guy's he beats women?" And I was like, "Oh shit, what?" I was just like, damn, that sucks. What an asshole.
Right.
Well, and she told me the story, and then I was like, damn, what the fuck? So I looked into it, and I was like, well, there's no proof that
even happened.
That it happened. I mean, she said it did, but basically I read all the media, like the outlets and the articles and stuff like that, and everyone was coming after him, but realistically, there was never any proof provided that any of this happened. Obviously, I didn't know at the time that it turns out that she really is lying, but I was just playing like, well, we don't know, you know what I mean? And that's how you're supposed to approach a situation like this.
Yeah, until you get factual evidence.
That's how the judicial system is also supposed to approach a situation like this. You know, innocent until proven guilty. That's the whole point of how the system is supposed to work. It can't work if you look at it and say, well, accused are guilty. It doesn't make any sense. But she was just like adamant, like, no, like he fucking did it and stuff like that. And then the conversation turned into accusations of rape. And then she was saying something along the lines of, you know, I believe all women who come forward and accuse anyone. And I was like, well, that's dangerous.
Silly. Yeah.
That's a dangerous, like, do you believe every person that comes forward and says somebody stole from them? Like, do you believe people lie?
That's how people's lives get ruined. There was that guy, that college football player.
Oh yeah, that.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a really, you know, high prospect. I think
there's a couple of different.
He got accused of being, you know, of raping this girl. Turns out, you know, he never did, but he still served the jail time. Yeah. Lost all of his NFL, you know, hopes.
Because they don't want to associate with you after that, even if you're unless you already signed a fucking contract with them. But even and they're like, oh, it's easy enough to break it. If it's easy enough to break, they'll break it.
Right.
But if it's not, and you're really in that shit, they'll hold on to you. But yeah, he lost that shit, and he's not the only one. I mean,
no, definitely.
It's happened to so many, not just athletes, but I think it's prominent that the athletes make the news the most because they lose so much. Right. Like some guys just lose. Like their respect in their community, and they wind up serving jail time and all these different things. But then there's those two black athletes who were accused by that girl of raping her. I don't know if you heard about that story. And she told a guy that she liked. She told him that they raped her.
She didn't want to look bad.
Because she didn't want to look bad because she liked him. When in fact she actually had a threesome with both of them.
Right.
She gave consent and they had sex. And then he told her to come forward, and she kept getting pressed by him. So then she eventually did. Came to light that none of it was true, but they lost their scholarships. They lost everything. They were their dreams of becoming professional athletes.
Everything they've worked for.
They lost it all. They wound up serving jail time, all of that shit. You know what I mean? And it turns out that she lied, and that was the reason why. I mean, it does happen. These people's lives get ruined because of accusations. And my whole point is, like, accusations are important. It's the only way we find out about stuff that happens.
But you gotta follow through.
But the whole point of innocent until proven guilty is that you take not just the accusations, but you take the truth. Everything you can find, the evidence, whether there is or isn't any. You have to bring it all together and figure out what really happened. You have to figure out what really happened. It can't just be like, this person said this, so that's what happened. That's how you get a bunch of false positives, basically, where you start deciding, well, because people say this happened, it happened. But basically, I had to say to her, when it started talking about rape allegations, I said to her, what about your brothers? You know what I mean? She has two very, 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 very young brothers who are like, I don't know, younger than 5, both of them. And I said, what if they grow up and a woman shows up at your house one night with the police or something like that, saying your brother is accused of raping her. And I honestly don't remember what she said, but based on what she said before that, I would have to surmise that she would go, yeah, I believe them. And I'm just thinking, like, although you know your brother, I mean, it's very possible that your brother could be capable of these things. Right. But the fact that you would just immediately be like, no, I don't believe my brother in this situation, you know. And I had to bring up a specific friend of mine who went through a similar situation where an ex of his that they had lost their virginities to had, and I know this because he told me about it like right before and after it happened. He was calling and texting. He was super excited about the whole situation. They got a hotel room and everything. Yeah. And he sent me pictures of them together, not while they were having sex, but when they got to the hotel room. Yeah. And no dollars. Like, they're together, they're smiling, she's wearing like lingerie, he's like got like no shirt and like boxers on. So obviously, like, it seems like it's consensual, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's holding her by her throat and she's crying in the pictures. She's smiling, she's rubbing on him and stuff like that, and then he texts me after, calls me after, and he tells me it happened, blah blah blah, right? So when they eventually break up because he's a piece of shit, and and he broke up with her like right after he took her virginity. Oh God,
it happens.
And so basically, she went and started telling her friends that she was forced into it.
Oh Jesus!
Like, that he pressured her and he kind of forcefully took her virginity, and that she was against it and she didn't enjoy it and all this stuff. Now, it wasn't like they had sex the one time and then they broke up or anything. They still continued to have a relationship before he broke up with her, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that she fucking started telling people that. Like, and then the way he found out about it.
In high school?
This was, a couple years ago. So, like, around college and stuff like that. So, he's, like, walking around college campus, and
people are calling him out.
He runs into, like, these two people, and the guy's like, basically, hey, I heard what you did to so-and-so. And he's like, what are you talking about? And basically fucking says, like, I heard you raped her. Like...
Oh, shit. And that's not something you can just throw around. Like...
Yeah, seriously. Now, she didn't go to the police and everything, because obviously there's no fucking evidence. Yeah. And honestly, the evidence is in the contrary, because there's pictures of them from that night. I mean, obviously, if you went through their messages right after it happened, you'd see that that wasn't the case. Their phone calls, all of that shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? You
could trace it back and figure it out for
But if you're going to tell me that people don't lie about this shit, because that was, like, her argument was, like, women don't lie about rape. I'm like, it happens all the fucking... Oh, yeah. Lying is not a problem of the gender. No, it's not a gender issue. It's a people problem. It's a human problem. Right. Humans fucking lie. And we lie about the worst stuff. Like,
and stupid shit too. But
we don't all have the same mindset about everything. Like,
well, and that's the thing, is everyone's level of what is accepted varies by person. So that's,
But getting back to the aMbEr Heard thing, this fucking crazy bitch, she cut off his finger.
So that I was reading into it. So did that really happen then? Was it like completely cut off?
No. It didn't it was like the tip. It was like the tip. It was like a tip of the finger. But still, like, if somebody pulls a blade on me, first of all, like, I've said this to my girlfriend before. You know, she's like asked, like, would you ever hit me? And I'm like, no, of course not. Like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna hit you. But if she pulls a knife on me, I'm knocking her the fuck out. Holy shit! I'm not even hesitating. I'm gonna. Right. Ooh, and I'll laugh. I'll be like, oh shit.
That bitch got knocked up, I'll go.
You got a weak ass chin, son. What?
No, that reminds me
of
this.
Lacking.
Daniel Tosh joke that he had on one of his old specials, but he was basically talking about that. He's, where he was having an argument with a friend where, I'm gonna probably butcher it a little bit, but essentially, there's no excuse for hitting a woman, and he's like, really? There's no excuse?
I remember that.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, no excuse at all. So he's like, so what if I'm coming home, working 16-hour shift, come home and see that my wife is drowning 2 of the 3 children I've owned.
I remember this.
Yeah, so you remember that joke? And he's like, nope, can't. He's like, she's about to drown the 3rd one. I can't just go in there and pop her one. It's like, nope, can't do that. Nope. It's like, you just got to let her drown that 3rd baby. It's funny, but it's true.
No, 100%. Like, and again, I'm being hyperbolic, obviously, for the joke, but like, the point being that like I don't see the point in me myself personally hitting my girlfriend unless I felt like I was really threatened. I don't feel like she could threaten me physically on her own. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a majority of men, not every man, but a majority of men probably feel that way.
Well, the thing is, too, some men, just because, I mean, they may not have I'm not killer instinct, but just that urge to even hurt anyone, just in general.
Yeah.
So why would they even hurt?
Well, I find most people are avoidant of violence.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
the
I mean?
most
Like
part.
human beings, we've as violent as we can be. If you've ever gotten into an altercation with a person, you understand that most of the time you both just want to get out of it as quickly as possible.
Right.
You know, as upset as you might be, you both just kind of want to just go your separate ways.
Right. There's those rare occasions
like,
when, but still, for
unless
the most
you
part,
run into like somebody who like is really irked, and then they get on your bad side too, and then it really takes off. But like most of the time, you both say your shit, you call each other names, goes back and forth, and then you just walk away. Yeah. Like that. You know what I mean? Like obviously,
it's like two dogs on a leash barking at each other, but knowing they're never gonna fucking get each other.
I think most humans, like, we've evolved to this level where in society where we're all the more aware of like other people around us and technology and all these different things, to where we're so aware of like all our surroundings at this point that we just don't want to fight most of the time. Well, we might want to show our teeth a little bit, you know, snarl, play, you know, it's that kind of primal urge where that's what animals do. You show your teeth, you start making noise. It's not because you're trying to fight each other, it's because you're trying to get each other to back off. And that's what
more defensive than offensive.
When you get into a fight with someone in traffic, that's exactly what you're doing. I mean, or you at a grocery store or something like that, you're letting him know, hey, you pissed me off, don't do that again. But like, I don't really want to fight you right now.
I'd rather get my fucking sandwich.
I want to get my point across to you that like I could knock you out, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my Oreos and bounce, bitch.
And if you wanted to, and honestly, if you heard a gangster say that to you, like the hardest fucking guy on the street was just like, I could knock you out, but I'd rather not, you'd be like, to be honest, that's kind of some pussy shit. But that's literally what it is.
Well, you can't say it like that.
Exactly. But they're literally like, they'll say shit. Like, people will say stuff like, oh, I could knock you out right now so easy. All right, then why won't you? The reason why people announce these kinds of things is because they don't want to. 100%. Humans have this like conflicting mentality in their minds where they want to appear to be a certain way. They want to be.
Well, it's like I said, it's a defense mechanism. It's like, you know how like certain animals puff up and get bigger.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Meerkats lift their tails up and shit when they're gonna get into fights.
There's that caterpillar that turns in and looks like a fucking snake.
Oh, that shit's dope. I've seen that. That's so cool.
And it looks exactly like a snake.
It looks like a snake.
It pops up.
Scary as shit. If I saw that, it'd terrify me.
I would squish it.
This turned into Animal Planet, and I love it. It's great.
That's how it happens.
So aMbEr Heard, she turns into this giant Godzilla fucking creature. I'm just kidding. That's what her cunt turns into.
That's really why this all started.
This is all based off of what Elon Musk has said, and I trust Elon with my life.
Right.
He put a car in space.
Flamethrowers.
Yeah.
Do I need to say any more?
He made flamethrowers just for the fun of it, just to fund his other company. I love that kind of mentality.
That's so fucking smart. He's making his money work for him. That's like the best. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's great. That's so fucking that's brilliant. I love that when you meet like someone who's like a kid who became a billionaire, but like they never
grew up.
Yeah. But they also didn't like stay stupid either, because you know, like a kid who becomes a billionaire and they lose all their money. Like,
you remember that movie Benchwarmers?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, like that guy.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. It's like that, except he didn't stay like a fucking idiot child.
Right.
Like he kept like the heart of a child. Elon has the heart of a child.
And the man brain and penis and everything else.
According to aMbEr Heard, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what Johnny was saying. Like, apparently, once they were, I think just a few months into their marriage, that she was actually having an affair with him, or having an affair on Johnny with Elon Musk.
That's crazy.
And there was, like, the people that worked at the house, I guess, where Johnny lived, were saying, like, the guards or whatever, that,
oh, did you hear about that? With the thing where their security, I think it's 2 security guards that they have, like, had heard her yelling
No, I didn't see that part. No,
so
no.
It's apparently what the guards are saying, like their security officers or whatever that they have in their house, like their actual security. She was screaming at one point. She goes, "Stop hitting me! Stop hitting me! Stop hitting me!" And obviously, as security, they get up and they run.
And he's not even in the room. It took them
a couple seconds to get there. They run over. She's sitting in a chair, and 20 feet away is Johnny Depp in the kitchen, like doing something. And they're like, "What?" They're fucking confused.
Christ.
And it's now come out, like it's now testimony, and it's going to be brought up in the court case and stuff like that. Because now they're basically the only two witnesses. Now they weren't there to see, but they heard, and then when they ran in, nothing was happening.
Also, yeah, if you're getting beat, you can't go from first you're going to be like a little bit out of breath.
And like Johnny Depp's in like his 50s now. Like he's not going to run 20 feet away and not look like he didn't just run 20 feet away.
And speaking of like being Johnny Depp being in shape and stuff, there's another thing that I saw that was kind of funny.
I want to talk about Johnny Depp being in shape.
Yes. No, apparently there was aMbEr Heard is getting more people are like pissed off at her. What's that?
What'd she hear?
No, aMbEr. Jesus Christ. I fell for it. Damn it. No, apparently she's people on Twitter are all pissed off at her on top of what she already did about the abuse, but I guess she was fat shaming him as well.
Oh my God. I love how that's what people are mad about.
Right.
If that doesn't show you where we are as a society we're just like, how dare you? You can beat his body, but you can't talk bad about it. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
That's what I'm
saying. You can cut pieces of it off, but don't do it to make him way less. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we're fine with you removing limbs, but like, you better stay away from those fucking love handles, you cunt.
Yeah, anything about that. But I was just laughing. I was like, that's basically what you're saying. Like, that's where our society is. Like,
that's where we are. Yeah, that's what people are worried about. None of these media publications will talk about this shit. So that's what the security guards have said about that. Now, one of her close friends, her like interior decorator, I think it's Laura Divier. I forget. I wrote it down somewhere. So she was not only a friend of hers, but also worked for her. You know, she's her interior decorator or whatever. She came out saying, and is now on Johnny Depp's side, saying that she had spent multiple days with her after every time she would come out with a new allegation. The times that she showed the pictures of the bruising that had never been seen afterwards, and when she wasn't out of court, because she showed up to court with bruising on her like body. And
wasn't there some shit where they're saying that she like
it's like makeup? That's what people are saying, because no one saw it other than that, the pictures, and when she would show up in court. And her friend, her actual friend, is saying, yeah, the days that she showed up and presented those pictures, I was with her the next day, and she had no bruises, nothing. And every day she would come out and
fast healer.
Report something. Yeah. She's just taking sensu beans. Yeah, this fucking bitch. They put her in the fucking the water chamber on Planet Namek to fucking heal her ass up. Stupid bitch. Sorry, I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Z lately. I'm all over this shit.
Is it on Netflix now?
No, I just watch it on like YouTube.
I thought it was going to be on Netflix. I thought I read something.
I wish if it was on there, I'd be all over that shit, man.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, like, so she's on Johnny Depp's camp saying like this is complete nonsense. She also came out to say that she hasn't seen any cases of them fighting with each other or anything like that, but she has seen a lot of instances of aMbEr Heard being verbally and emotionally abusive to her own staff, where she would like get into like these really disgusting like arguments and fights with her her ex-assistant and stuff like that over the phone, just being a real cunt. And like, so she went and switched sides. She was just like, I know I'm friends with her, but this bitch is definitely fucking crazy.
Right.
Come on, if your friend like up and leaves and is like, yeah, you're really full of shit and you're insane, like you definitely need to serve time. Yeah, there's definitely something fucking there. And apparently back in 2009, she was actually, I think she received a misdemeanor assault charge for hitting her girlfriend. I guess she's bisexual.
Oh.
And she actually, so this isn't the first occasion. And if you look at this as like, oh, if it was a man with some type of past of this kind of thing where there was one case like years ago. They'd be all over this shit.
Sure.
Like they were already all over Johnny Depp, and there is no fucking history of this shit. If there was one, they wouldn't hesitate. Over. He'd be fucking locked up. Over.
No, that's fucking nuts. No, I mean that kind of brings me to the other thing too. Like, I don't know. I think it's probably the main thing that kind of started all this was the audio of her like having conversation with Johnny, and she was the one that was actually like that was recording it. I don't know. I think Johnny knew she was recording it because I think they talk about that, or he knew that she had done that. I think she has done this in the past because he brings it up. Like, let me see the recording, or let me listen to the recordings to when we were at da-da-da. So obviously she does.
Maybe they just both agreed to it. I don't know. I didn't look into like the.
So I wasn't for sure on that, but
maybe they just agreed to record their recordings. I don't know.
Well, anyways, regardless of that, she knew she was being recorded, and she was being fucking nuts and admitting all this shit. She's like,
they'll never believe you that I hit you.
Right, and I'm just like, are you fucking serious?
Really out of pocket shit. Like, but it really goes to show you like the way it's kind of looked at in our society that like. If you're a man and you've undergone some type of abuse physically by your partner who is a woman or otherwise, I mean, I'm sure they probably look more seriously into like same-sex relationships like men and men. They're probably like, there's a higher likelihood they probably think. But it happens. It fucking happens. And I'll talk from my own experience now about that. The woman I'm in a relationship with, she's not an abuser. She doesn't abuse me or anything like that, but she has gotten out of fucking pocket before, and like she has hit me in the face before, and she was under the impression like, oh, there was nothing wrong with that situation. I was not like, I didn't hit you, like hit you, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and she's like, oh, it's not the same thing. And I'm like,
and that's the wrong mentality. That's what the issue is.
Because you know when you have a child or something like that, and they come around slapping you in the face, it doesn't hurt you. Right. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't hurt you, but you don't go and tell them like, oh, like that's okay because it's not the same thing as me hitting you. Like you tell them, no, don't do that because you don't hit people, regardless of if you have the capability to hurt them or not. You know what I mean? It's the principle of the matter. It's the principle of the matter is that if I did it to you, it would be a completely different story. You know what I mean?
That's what the issue is.
Because if she hit me as hard as she could, if she really swung at me like closed fist,
it would probably hurt.
It would hurt, but honestly, you know what would really happen though? It would hurt. It would give me a small bruise on my cheek, and she'd probably break a knuckle.
Probably.
And then they'd come after me for her broken knuckle.
Could you imagine?
They'd be like, did she break her knuckle on your face?
We're charging your face with domestic violence.
But if I fucking went at her, and I fucking full force, like, bam, right in her mouth, probably knock all her fucking teeth out or something like that, oh, I'd be done.
Oh, for
Even
sure.
if it wasn't that serious. If it was half the strength that she fucking put into it, comparatively at least, like, it still doesn't equate the same way, you know what I mean? Because we don't look at domestic violence between the genders as the same thing. It's just not, it doesn't track the same way. And I had to explain this to her a couple times. The first time it ever happened to us was she got drunk. She got drunk and she got way too fucking crazy. She scratched my face because she tried to take the glasses off of my face. She wasn't trying to, but she did.
Right.
And in that heated moment, I threw her off of me because she fucking scratched my face.
Right.
And she explained to me that that's not what she was trying to do, but it still is what happened. You know what I mean?
Regardless
like,
of
if I may have just been trying to push you, but if I pushed you off of a fucking building, I have to live with the consequences of what happened, not what I was trying to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how the court system works. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about what your intentions were. It's what you did. It's what you actually did. So like, I had to explain that to her. Like, hey, that's, you know, whatever. And then we had the same issue again another time where I think we were yelling, we were fighting or something like that, and then she playfully hit me, but we were upset with each other at the time. So I understood that, like, it wasn't just a playful
It was
thing.
kind of like a playful, like, trying to get away with it.
But she tried to play it off as it was, and that really set me off.
I would be pissed too.
Yeah, and I said it. I was like, I come from a household where I got hit a lot.
Right.
And undeservedly so. I was beat sometimes. My father was more, verbally, like, abusive.
Yeah.
But when he did beat me, he beat me. Mm-hmm. When it was physical, it was physical. You know what I mean? Right. He's a fucking brawler guy. He was a professional bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, he's a big dude.
He was in the military. He's a fucking professional asshole his entire life. Never been paid for it. Yeah. Got a huge chip on his shoulder. So he's got something to prove to everybody. Mm-hmm. So that kind of guy, that mentality is where I had to grow up. You know what I mean? And so I had to explain to her, like, I take physical abuse very seriously, you know what I mean? And just because you think you can't hurt me doesn't mean it doesn't hurt me emotionally, because your intention is to hurt me, which is what hurts.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Just because they may not be able to physically hurt you as bad as we would if it was a situation switched, it still does, like you said, hurt you emotionally, because this person is trying to fucking hurt me, because if they could hit me as hard as I could hit them, they would. That's what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. That's how come, like when it comes to fighting, what?
When it comes to fighting, what?
Oh no, like when I was a kid and shit, like this is kind of like a little bit off topic, but it'll kind of relate a little bit.
Sure.
But like when it came to fighting, like my dad was very adamant about, like, do not start fights, but if someone does hit you,
both my parents were like that too,
defend yourself. He's like, and you defend yourself with all that you have.
Finish it.
Yeah, because that person hits you, they are trying to put as much harm as possible to you.
Right.
So you can't let that happen.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. So I have that same mentality.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That was my whole fucking thought, and you have to fight that back. Like if the person you're in a relationship with hits you, you have to restrain yourself and literally be like, I can't fucking hit this person back. And and it's so, oh man.
I think honestly, guys don't get enough credit when it comes to that.
When it comes to shit like that, because
especially with this Johnny Depp thing. Like if I was Johnny Depp, I probably would have pushed her off the fucking balcony. I'm not gonna lie.
If it man, because like one of the situations when it first happened and she scratched my face in the heat of the moment, I like pushed her. And, like, she was, like, grabbing my glasses. She had been drinking, so she was intoxicated and, like, under the influence. And I basically was, like, trying to snatch my glasses back out of her hand because she was, like, crushing them. Mm-hmm. And it was just a really bad night. It was such a bad night. Everything was wrong. There was a huge miscommunication between me and her that started this fight in the first place. And I was sober and she was drinking because I don't drink when she drinks because I know that I need to
be in a better state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just don't do it, and I'm on top of her when she drinks, especially now. Like I'll be like, okay, have like 1 or 2 drinks, then have a glass of water, do something like that, because I don't know. So I basically was, I tossed her off of me like onto the bed, and I'm trying to get my glasses off, and she's like crushing them, and I'm like, I've got my fucking hand. And I'm trying to get them out of her hand. And I go, if you break my fucking glasses, I'll break your fucking face.
Right.
Because I'm upset.
Oh, of course.
And she goes, do it. And in that moment, I stopped. I like got off. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I am not doing this. Are you kidding me? I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I let go of the glasses. And I was just like, please, just give me my glasses. Because I want to leave right now.
Just trying to take yourself away from the whole situation.
You have to restrain yourself.
Dude, no, it's fucking tough.
Because a lot of women do not look at it the same way. Just like it's a joke, it's comical, it's funny.
Well, even that, I think something. I mean, this is kind of an assumption, but I would assume a lot of them know that that's just kind of how it works, so they can kind of get away with certain things.
I had a situation when I was in high school where I called a girl a bitch in the middle of class. This fucking like ratchet ass bitch. Like, and I don't regret it. I still like stood by it because she came up to me after class ended, right before the bell rang for us to leave. Last class of the day, so we're going home. I got my backpack on. She comes over. She walks around. Hey, what did you call me? You called me something in the middle of class. What'd you call me? I turned her straight face. Completely, like, straight face. I look her dead in the eyes and I go, I called you a bitch. And this is what she does. As soon as I say bitch, punches me right in the face. She punches me in the face.
Right.
Like right here in my mouth. Punch. And she goes, what'd you say again? And I go, I ball my fist up and I go, I called you a bitch. And she right in the face again. And she goes, what'd you say? I said, I called you a bitch. right in the face again. I didn't do anything. I'm fucking standing there like, oh
my god, dude,
I want to fucking kill this bitch. And I'm literally like, oh, I could fucking rip you in half, you stupid cunt. I was like, I could kill you right now. And my ex-girlfriend even came over. She was in class with me. She's like, you're only doing that because you know he won't fight you back.
Right.
Like, she actually defended me.
Well, that's I mean, that's good that she saw
like,
that.
Everybody, she punched me like 3 or 4 times. I didn't do anything. I was like,
no one said anything else though, other
Nobody
than her?
did. Her and her friends laughing about it and shit like that. The teacher didn't notice it. So, and I'm not gonna fucking go and be like, oh, like this bitch fucking hit. Because first of all, she punches like a pussy. She don't know how to throw a fucking punch. Because
like
girls,
a bitch.
like I mean, most of the girls in my fucking high school are just grabbing hair and scratching at each other when they got into fights. So I'm like, you don't know how to fucking punch or anything. I'm lucky she didn't break her hand. I'd be in cuffs. But like seriously, like everybody was. Her and her friends are laughing about it and shit like that. But that's the situation that I had. That was my first situation with that, or not really. I had one when I was younger, where an older girl, like who was in like high school and I was in elementary school, she beat the shit out of me at the park in New York.
Were you asking for it though?
I don't know. I got into a fight with some, like I think her cousin, and I beat the shit out of him. But we were the same age,
right? And
so she came over, and she's like a high school student. She's like 14, and I was like 7 or 8, and she beat the fuck out of me. And like I didn't fight back, and I told her I'm not gonna fight her. Like, and I was a kid, and at that age, I was just like, oh, I won't fight girls. It was more about like, oh, I had picked up from my parents that fighting girls are wrong. Now, if I'm really in trouble, I will like not only defend myself, I'll give you an ass whooping.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna I'm never gonna put myself in a situation where I fight my partner. You know what I mean? Like that's wrong. But I also won't let them attack me either.
100%. But it's hard. Like when you get to that situation where both of you, two people are so pissed off and they get to a point where they want to physically harm each other, that's a dangerous fucking spot because all it takes is just one little thing to set one of the other person off, and it's fucking, swinging. And if it's the girl that decides to do that first, and like the situation, and the guy just defending himself or can't defend himself, it's like how's that fucking fair?
Yeah,
and it's not in any sense.
I was literally like, when I was in that class, man, and that shit happened, I was just like, if I fuck this bitch up, I already know when I come to school tomorrow, I'm gonna have to fight like 5 fucking guys. Like literally, I was just like, because I already know it's gonna make the rounds before I even go to sleep. It's gonna be all over Facebook, and people are gonna be messaging on fucking Kick and Snapchat and texting each other. This fucking guy beat so and so, and I'm gonna have to deal with her cousins, her boyfriend. Everybody's gonna want to fight me all at once, and I was just like,
It's not worth it.
Man, I really fucking. Whenever you're in that situation, it's just fucking bullshit. It's bullshit that you have to deal with situations like that when it comes to dealing with violence from the opposite gender, you know what I mean? Like, there's just that double standard there of, it just doesn't equate, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really defend yourself without looking like the bad guy in terms of, like, how we look at it as a society.
And that's the issue.
Like, you know what, have you seen, like, every time there's a video on Facebook of, like, a guy and a girl getting into a girl will like slap a guy and then a guy will like slap her back or something, and the comments are like, oh, that fucking piece of shit guy. No, the caption will always say, was he right? It's always like, was he right? And then a lot of the times I feel like nowadays we're getting to a point where it's just like, yeah, I would have slapped that bitch too. But like there are still people that will like demonize you for that, and it's a shame. 100%. It's a fucking shame, where I really want to like instill in my children, don't fight. As much as you can, just don't fight. If you have to fight, fight. But, like, realistically, like, I wish my parents would have never said the whole idea of, like, don't fight girls or anything like that when I was a kid. Because I really took that to heart when I was a kid, when I was in high school and stuff.
Punching girls all day.
Fuck, you know what? Fuck it, yeah. I think we need to teach people violence is wrong. Not, like, violence against one type of people is wrong.
No, that is true.
But if somebody commits an act against you, this is my mentality of anything. If someone commits an act against me verbally, emotionally, physically, I come back at them 10 times stronger. And when I get into a fight with my girlfriend, she'll be like, I'm right here and you're all the way up here. I'm like, yeah, because you're right here. So I'm gonna be up here.
That's the way it works in this fucking house.
I'm just like, if you're gonna come after me for some shit,
coming tenfold.
Like, only if it's like ridiculous, unfounded shit. Like if it's fair, then I'll be completely on level with you.
Right.
But if I'm being attacked for no reason
that's
or something,
different though.
then I come at you. I come for your fucking throat. Like, and that's how I'll raise my kids like that. I'm like, if a girl punches you in the face, knock that bitch out. I want to see her on the fucking stretcher. Her little 6-year-old body fucking taken out of class. I want to call from the school. I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to go, you did it, champ. And I'm going to bring you boxing gloves. And I'm going to go, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Walk in with playing the fucking Rocky theme song.
Yeah. I'm like, gosh, I got the hat turned like Mick. I'm like, you're going to destroy him, Brock. No, seriously, yeah, that literally,
That's fucking crazy. We're going to actually take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to kind of go over some of the audio that we listened to of the conversation between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, aMbEr Heard. And kind of, we're not going to listen to the whole thing. We have certain segments that we listen to that we kind of want to listen to it again and just kind of discuss it with you and just kind of give our opinion on that whole situation. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, we'll be right back.
Peace.